Hello guys, welcome back to Empower Tutorials. This is your biology master teacher Dr. Sonam. Hello everyone. So yes guys, what are we doing currently? So yeah, we are talking about genetics, right? So what we've seen in the previous sessions is that the first session that we had, so we studied about all the basic terminologies related to genetics, right? Then in the next lecture, we saw about who Mendel was, that is the father of genetics, how he got into this field, and what all things did he do to get us know more about genetics and what exactly genetics was, right? So yes, we are done with all the basics. Now we are going ahead and seeing about the Mendelian experiments. Yes, guys, chalo, let's go ahead. So yeah, so what does today's quote say? It says, fly high, but stay grounded, right? So definitely fly high with flying colors, I'll say, achieve a lot of success. All of you, all my kids I know have a lot of potential to grow, to achieve all the success that you desire. But remember one thing, always stay grounded, stay gentle, stay humble to everybody. Don't boast about whatever you have in life, and always remember, every finisher was once a beginner, right? So today, if you have achieved everything and you're coming to the end where you've completed all your goals, so don't look down on anybody, and don't consider anybody inferior to you. Don't consider yourself superior to anybody. So no matter what you achieve in life, no matter how high you go, always stay grounded and be a gentleman, right kids? Chalo, let's go ahead. So yeah, Mendelian experiment. Look how cute these small peas are looking. Just imagine, today we are in this world of technology. That time, how Mendel must have spent like so many years of his life in the pea garden. Literally sitting and observing those plants, right? Isn't it like really amazing? So yeah, I mean it's like wonderful. It's a salute, to all the things that he has come up with. That is making genetics so easy for us, right? Chalo, let's make it a little more easier for us and understand all that he did. So last class we have studied about the 7 characters that he studied, about the flower color, the plant height, seed color, seed shape, pod color, pod shape, and the flower position. Now we'll be seeing all the experiments that he did. Yeah, so the last class I had given you all one activity and I had asked you all what is the scientific name for the pea plant. So we have an answer from Gunjan. So she says name of the pea plant is Pisum sativa. Yes, Gunjan, thank you for the answer. And yes, your answer is absolutely correct. So yes, the name of the pea plant, the scientific name is Pisum sativa. Right? So guys, keep this in mind. And this could be, just an MCQ question for your entrance, for your basic exam. So always keep this in mind. Pea plant is nothing but Pisum sativum. Now let's go ahead. What is monohybrid cross? We have seen whenever we are studying about one character in a plant is known as a monohybrid cross. So monohybrid cross is a cross between two organisms with different variations at one genetic locus of interest. One genetic locus of interest means plant height. Let's take an example. So genetic locus of interest is plant height for us, and different variations is tall and short. Got it? Is it clear? The characters being studied in a monohybrid cross are governed by two or multiple variations for a single locus. Now we are having two variations, that is tall and dwarf. So ऐसे और भी बहुत सारे variations हो सकते हैं for a single locus. Now again, don't forget our single locus or the gene of interest is the height that we are studying, for example. So now let's study this. So now remember, जब monohybrid cross was being performed, यहाँ पे भी tall और dwarf का example लिया है that we are going to study now. So when the monohybrid cross was being performed, or when any cross is performed, such kind of examples, there are two steps that happen. Firstly, there is self-pollination, and then there is cross-pollination. ठीक है? तो self-pollination का जो result आता है, that is known as the F1 generation or the filial generation. Filial 1 generation, then होता है क्रॉस पॉलिनेशन, एंड देन आता है फिलाइल 2 जनरेशन. ठीक है? नाउ लेट्स गो अबाउट इट. सो वी हैव प्योर ब्रीड capital T, that is double, so that is a pure breed tall plant, and small or dwarf or the recessive character is always given by small alphabet. So we have small t telling us about the dwarf plant. ठीक है? So we have tall and dwarf. अभी पहले तो हम इनका self pollination कर रहे हैं, right? So now when we are doing the self pollination, यहाँ से एक capital T आता है, यहाँ से एक small t आता है. अब यहाँ से एक एक क्यों आ रहा है? Because we have studied that these gametic cells, these sex cells are haploid, right? That is single in number. So यहाँ से double T से एक ही T आएगा और यहाँ से भी एक T आएगा. And the result that we have got is capital T small t, right? Now when you have capital T small t, तो इसमें dominant क्या है? Capital T dominant है, मतलब tall is dominant. That means ये जो generation है, firstly remember that this what we have got is the F1 generation. Okay, this is the F1 generation, and in F1 generation we have got all tall plants. Now because we have seen, right, capital T है मतलब dominating factor है, मतलब dominating factor जो tall है, so all the plants are going to be tall. And kids remember, यहाँ पे आपको एक का example दिखाया है, but when this self pollination was being done, ये जो यहाँ पे result आया होगा, millions and trillions of trees बने होंगे इस self pollination से, and all those trees were tall. It's not just one tree, okay? It's going to be many n number of trees, but all of them are going to be tall according to the result that we have got. ठीक है, अभी यहाँ पे ये capital T और small t मिला है. So now we have two parents which are heterozygotic. What is a heterozygote? Means two characters उसमें आ रहे हैं, two different alleles are coming. So we have one capital T and one small t for one parent. Similarly, for another parent, we have one capital T and one small t. So ये जो tall plants आए ना सारे, that was the first filial generation which is happening after the self pollination. अब हो रहा है cross pollination. तो हम जब भी cross pollination दिखाते हैं, we use this square method, which is known as a Punnett square, which was obviously given by a scientist. So this is known as a Punnett square. So now Punnett square में हम कर रहे हैं cross pollination. ठीक है, ये एक parent है, ये दूसरा parent है. अब ये T दोनों capital, we have got two capital T's. Then capital T small t इधर आया, then small t capital T इधर आया, and then small t cross किया तो ये आया. Now remember, capital T into small t or small t into capital T is one and the same thing, just like 2 into 5 and 5 into 2 is the same thing. ठीक है, but देखो अभी ये capital T है, मतलब dominant character है तो ये tall है. यहाँ पे भी एक capital T है, dominant character है, मतलब ये भी tall है. ये यहाँ पे भी capital T है, मतलब dominant character है तो ये भी tall है. तो मतलब हमको क्या दिख रहा है, we are having 3 tall plants और यहाँ पे कोई भी dominant character नहीं है, राइट? यहाँ पे सब शॉर्ट है. सो वी आर हैविंग 1 dwarf plant. ठीक है, तो नाउ ये जो हमको रेशियो मिल रहा है ना 3:1 का, मतलब 3 tall plants and 1 short plant, this is the phenotypic ratio that we have discussed. What we discussed, जो मैंने आपको बोला था, you all can look at me and say that my hair color is black or my eye color is brown. So looking at me, whatever you all can tell, so what is basically the phenotypic ratio is the physical appearance. तो फिजिकली हमको ट्रीज जो दिख रहे हैं, 3 टॉल है और एक शॉर्ट है. सो वी विल से दैट द फिनोटिपिक रेशियो इज 3:1 बिकॉज हमको वो दिख रहा है, 3 टॉल ट्रीज दिख रहे हैं एंड 1 शॉर्ट ट्री दिख रहा है, राइट? नाउ वी विल कम टू समथिंग नोन एज द जीनोटिपिक रेशियो. जीनोटिपिक मतलब क्या, अभी यहाँ पे हम ये स्मॉल टी और कैपिटल टी कंसिडर करेंगे, ये भी स्मॉल टी कैपिटल टी कंसिडर करेंगे. अब यहाँ पे हम डोमिनेंट रिसेसिव नहीं देख रहे हैं, ठीक है? अभी हम यहाँ पे क्या देख रहे हैं, ये अलील्स देख रहे हैं. तो यहाँ पे वी हैव ओनली वन रिजल्ट. ओके, वी हैव ओनली वन रिजल्ट ऑफ अ प्योर टॉल प्लांट, प्योर ब्रीड टॉल प्लांट. वी हैव ओनली वन रिजल्ट ऑफ अ प्योर ब्रीड ड्वार्फ प्लांट, राइट? एंड वी हैव 2 heterozygotes, राइट? We have 2 heterozygotes. तो हमारा रेशियो क्या हो जाता है, हमारा रेशियो हो जाता है 1:2:1. So this becomes our genotypic ratio. मतलब 1 pure breed tall है, then 2 जो है they are heterozygotes, and 1, the last one again, is a pure breed dwarf plant. Okay guys, is it clear? पहले आया फिलाइल जनरेशन जिसमें सारे टॉल प्लांट्स थे, देन हमने जो क्रॉस पॉलिनेशन किया उसमें हमको फिनोटिपिक रेशियो जो मिला, दैट इज 3:1. ऑलवेज रिमेंबर, phenotypic ratio and genotypic ratio for a monohybrid cross will remain the same, 3:1, and genotypic will be 1:2:1. Okay guys, are we clear? So now yes, let's go ahead and check what else is there for us. Now, based on this experiment that he has done, he has given the law of dominance. Mendel's law of dominance states that in a heterozygote मतलब देखो ये वाला है heterozygote, कैपिटल A और स्मॉल a जिसमें डोमिनेंट और रिसेसिव एलील दोनों आ रहा है, that in a heterozygote one trait will conceal the presence of another trait for the same characteristic. अभी ये same characteristic है color of the fruit, correct? तो यहाँ पे एक trait is concealing the presence of other, that means the dominant trait is covering up for the recessive trait. Dominant वाला भारी पड़ रहा है recessive पे, that is nothing but the law of dominance. अब देखो यहाँ पे भी अगर हम देखें, so same thing, right? We have one pure breed red, we have one pure breed yellow, and we have one heterozygote. ठीक है, तो ये जीनोटिपिक रेशियो क्या हुआ हमारा 1:1:1. ठीक है, दिस इज आवर जीनोटिपिक रेशियो 1:1:1. ठीक है, ये जीनोटिपिक रेशियो. अब फिनोटिपिक रेशियो क्या होगा हमारा ये एग्जांपल में, देखो इसमें कैपिटल है मतलब ये डोमिनेंट है, इसमें कैपिटल है मतलब ये भी डोमिनेंट है, और इसमें कैपिटल है ही नहीं मतलब ये फुल्ली रिसेसिव है. सो हमारा फिनोटिपिक रेशियो जो होगा वो क्या होगा 2:1. Correct? So our phenotypic ratio is 2:1 and our genotypic ratio is 1:1:1. Okay guys, are we clear with this? Law of dominance is nothing but it talks about that the dominant allele will always dominate the presence of the recessive character. ठीक है, आगे चलते हैं. अब देखो ये वाला कैसा है, ये वाला green breeding pod है. This is true breeding green pod. True breeding green means इसमें डोमिनेंट रिसेसिव कुछ नहीं है, ये कंप्लीटली कैपिटल जी है. सिमिलरली यहाँ पे भी दिस इज ट्रू ब्रीडिंग येलो, मींस इट्स कंप्लीटली येलो, बट येलो को हम छोटा इसलिए लिख रहे हैं बिकॉज येलो इज अ रिसेसिव ट्रेट, राइट? सो नाउ इसका जब हम क्रॉस कर रहे हैं, अब देखो ये चारों में मतलब ये पूरी 100% पॉसिबिलिटी है दैट द रिजल्ट ऑफ दिस विल बी अ ग्रीन कलर पॉड, बिकॉज देखो चारों में कैपिटल जी आ रहा है, दैट मींस इसमें रिसेसिव कुछ है ही नहीं, इसमें एवरीथिंग इज डोमिनेंट वाला ग्रीन पॉड. गॉट इट? दिस इज द लॉ ऑफ डोमिनेंस बेसिकली. ठीक है गाइस, क्लियर? लॉ ऑफ सेग्रीगेशन ऑफ गैमीट्स, लॉ ऑफ सेग्रीगेशन एंड प्यूरिटी ऑफ गैमीट्स. ठीक है, नाउ वी हैव स्टडीड अर्लियर इन मायोसिस एंड ऑल दैट जब पेरेंट्स से ऑफस्प्रिंग में क्रोमोसोम्स या क्रोमैटिड्स आते हैं तो एक रैंडम सेग्रीगेशन होता है, राइट? फॉर एग्जांपल लुक एट दीज पेयर्स. यहाँ पे जो भी ये इनका सेग्रीगेशन हो रहा है, यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है ऑरेंज ग्रीन ब्लू, ब्लू ग्रीन ऑरेंज, ग्रीन ऑरेंज ब्लू. इट्स लाइक रैंडम, राइट? इंपॉर्टेंट क्या है दैट एवरी पेरेंट को उनके हर गैमेट में एक एक एलील आना चाहिए एंड वी हैव टू हैव हाफ द नंबर, राइट? मायोसिस में वी हैव स्टडीड वी नीड हाफ द नंबर. सो it's what is important is every parent should get every offspring should get half the number of chromosomes from their parents, right? But जो segregation होता है मतलब फॉर एग्जाम्पल जो जीन्स का सेग्रीगेशन होता है दैट हैपेंस रैंडमली. ठीक है, दिस इज अबाउट द लॉ ऑफ सेग्रीगेशन. सो द लॉ स्टेट्स दैट alleles segregate randomly into gametes. When gametes are formed, each allele of one parent segregates randomly into the gametes of the offsprings such that half of the parent's gametes carry each allele, right? As I explained, एक एक allele सब में आना चाहिए, but वो distribution कैसे होगा? There is no fixed order, it just happens randomly, right? Okay, now we are coming to something a little complex, something known as a dihybrid cross. ठीक है, monohybrid में हमने देखा that we are studying only one character, जो हमने किया tall and dwarf. We studied the plant height. Now in dihybrid cross we are studying two characters together. इसमें हम क्या कर रहे हैं? Seed का shape which is round or wrinkled and seed का color which is yellow and green study कर रहे हैं. ठीक है, तो we are studying two characters, that is why it is a dihybrid cross. ठीक है, इसमें भी same thing is going to happen. पहले we'll have the first filial generation, then cross pollination होगा and we'll have the second filial generation and then we'll have a genotypic ratio. ठीक है, so now see we have capital R, that is pure breed round, pure breed yellow, capital Y, and it is a dominant, that is why it is in caps, and these are recessive characters, that is why they are in small. तो जब इनका सेल्फ पॉलिनेशन होता है तो हमारा रिजल्ट जो आता है वो राउंड येलो ही आता है, but still the answer that we have got is a heterozygote. It is not a true round yellow, it is a heterozygotic, but because of the law of dominance we are getting अराउंड येलो, ठीक है, बिकॉज कैपिटल आर और कैपिटल वाई है। अब हम इसका क्रॉस पॉलिनेशन कर रहे हैं। सो दिस इज वन पेरेंट, दिस इज अनदर पेरेंट। अब इसमें सारे पॉसिबिलिटीज लिखे हैं हमने ये, ठीक है। जब इनका हम क्रॉस करेंगे, सो वी हैव कैपिटल आर कैपिटल वाई क्रॉस विद कैपिटल आर कैपिटल वाई, ये चारों पॉसिबिलिटीज है, राइट। दिस इज ट्रू राउंड येलो, दिस इज true wrinkled yellow, this is true round yellow, and this is true wrinkled green, right? This is not yellow, this is green. Capital Y is not for, small y is for green because of the recessive trait. अभी हम इनका क्रॉस कर रहे हैं, ठीक है। You have to just put this down in the table and then just do this crossing. Okay, do the maths and get this Punnett square filled. तो अब इसका रिजल्ट जो आता है, ठीक है, what result we get for this is, now see, कैपिटल वाले अल्फाबेट्स जो भी इसमें आपको जीन में दिख रहे हैं, दैट विल बिकम योर डोमिनेंट थिंग, ठीक है। अब देखो कैपिटल वाला कहाँ कहाँ आ रहा है। सी, इसमें वी आर हैविंग कैपिटल, करेक्ट, इसमें कैपिटल है, इसमें कैपिटल है, एटलीस्ट वन शुड बी कैपिटल, वन कैपिटल आर होना चाहिए एंड वन कैपिटल वाई होना चाहिए, देन दैट मेक्स इट डोमिनेंट, ठीक है। इसमें है, देन इसमें है, we have it in this, we have it in this, we don't have it in this because इसमें क्या है, small r है, right, then इसमें भी नहीं है, we have it in this and that's it. We have only these many in which dominant characters हैं. So we have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, so we have 9, ठीक है। अभी completely जो है recessive कौन से हैं, completely recessive में we have only one, ठीक है, completely recessive ओनली वन है। अभी राउंड कितने हैं और रिंकल्ड कितने हैं, लेट्स चेक दैट। अभी देखो इसमें कैपिटल आर है, ठीक है, इसमें भी कैपिटल आर है एंड इसमें भी कैपिटल आर है। कितने हुए ये, 3, करेक्ट, 9:3। और बच रहा क्या है, ये कैपिटल वाई, ये कैपिटल वाई एंड ये कैपिटल वाई, दिस इज अगेन 3। Now this ratio that we have got 9:3:3:1 is the genotypic ratio for a dihybrid cross. Okay, is it clear? This ratio of 9:3:3:1 is the genotypic ratio for a dihybrid cross, जिसमें 9 जो है they are completely dominant. These are dominant because of round, the 3 one. The second 3 is dominant because of the green, and this 1 is a completely recessive character, correct, जिसमें complete recessive pure breed wrinkled green आ रहा है, small r small y. Okay guys, got it, ठीक है। See, round yellow 9 है, round green, round yellow means fully dominant जो हमने 9 किया, then round green मतलब ग्रीन तो रिसेसिव कैरेक्टर है बट इट इज स्टिल गेटिंग डोमिनेटेड बिकॉज इट इज राउंड, राइट, सो वो 3 है। देन शेप रिसेसिव वाला है रिंकल्ड बट कलर इज स्टिल डोमिनेंट वाला व्हिच इज येलो, सो अगेन दैट इज 3 एंड लास्ट वन इज प्योरली रिसेसिव व्हिच इज रिंकल्ड एंड ग्रीन, उसका रेशियो है 1, राइट। सो व्हाट वी हैव गॉट इज 9:3:3:1 is the genotypic ratio for a dihybrid cross. Okay guys, are we clear with this? Now moving ahead, now based on this dihybrid cross, Mendel has given the third law that is known as the law of independent assortment. Right, now let's see what this says. It states that genes for different traits are inherited independently of each other. Right, the principle of independent assortment describes how different genes independently separate from one another when reproductive cells develop. During meiosis, the pairs of homologous chromosomes are divided in half to form haploid cells. Right? हमने देखा है meiosis में जो diploid cells रहते हैं उनको half होना पड़ता है. So those diploid cells are becoming haploid, right? तो वो जो half का distribution होता है और वो जो separation होता है, एक तो we have seen that it happens randomly. दूसरा thing जो हो रहा है that is happening independently irrespective of the other gene. Like, you know, one gene is not running after the other gene. That assortment which is happening half वाला वो independently हो रहा है, every gene का अलग अलग हो रहा है, ठीक है। So in the homologous chromosomes, when they are divided in half to form the haploid cells, and this separation or assortment of homologous chromosomes is random. Okay, now this Why this is given after the dihybrid cross? Because उसमें हम 2 characters study कर रहे हैं. We are coming to know about 2 genes over there. For example, humans में समझ लो hair color and skin color. ऐसे हम 2 genes study कर रहे हैं. That is why hair color और skin color का जो gene separation होगा from parents to their offspring, वो independently of each other's nature होगा. अलग-अलग होगा, right? Like skin color will not rely on hair color. ऐसा. So because we are talking about 2 characters, that is why law of independent assortment regarding genes is given after the dihybrid cross. Okay? Yes. So remember now, till now, whatever we have seen about the monohybrid and the dihybrid cross, the first 2 laws, that is law of segregation and law of dominance, is given after the monohybrid cross. Okay? And law of independent assortment is given after the dihybrid cross, right? Now there is something known as sex-linked inheritance. Okay, what happens in sex-linked inheritance? Now कैसा होता है ना? There are certain factors. Okay, there are certain factors जो कि सिर्फ X-linked chromosome में होते हैं. There are certain factors जो सिर्फ Y में होते हैं. Now, for example, let me give you an example. Say baldness. Right? Baldness जो होता है when when men don't have hair. Right? वो genetically transfer होता है. Right? If your father does not has lost his hair, वो the son will always be in fear that okay, even I can lose my hair anytime. Right? So that is inheritance. तो ऐसे certain characters या traits होते हैं जो कि सिर्फ males में होते हैं या सिर्फ females में होते हैं. Now how does that be decided? That is decided on basis of X chromosome or Y chromosome. Okay. Now we know female is what? Female is double X, X and male is X and Y. ठीक है. तो जो Y के traits होंगे वो female में कभी आएंगे ही नहीं, because Y female में आता ही नहीं है. Female is always XX. तो Y वाले जो genes होंगे, that will always cause a danger to men, to the male gender, right? But जो जीन्स फीमेल्स में होंगे वो मेल्स को एंडेंजर कर सकते हैं बिकॉज मेल्स का क्रोमोसोम इज एक्स एंड वाई. ओके, सो दिस इज द बेसिस और जिस्ट ऑफ सेक्स लिंक्ड जीन्स और क्रोमोसोम्स. ठीक है. नाउ सी, दिस इज एक्स क्रोमोसोम, दिस इज वाई क्रोमोसोम. जरूरी नहीं है एक्स क्रोमोसोम में जो जीन्स है वो वाई क्रोमोसोम में भी हो, राइट? सो इट्स ऑल डिफरेंट, बट inheritance of certain diseases or systemic disorders or all these things depends a lot on the chromosomes or on the gender. Now see, for example, heredity of Y linked देख रहे हैं हम. ठीक है. अभी Y जो है वो females में नहीं आता है. Female is XX, okay? Male is X and Y. तो अभी ये males का देख रहे हैं हम. ठीक है. Father is affected because Y में कोई तो ऐसा gene है जिसकी वजह से कोई disease है. ठीक है. Father is affected and mother is unaffected because वो जो problem है वो सिर्फ Y वाले क्रोमोसोम पे ही है. वो जो जीन है जिसमें प्रॉब्लम है दैट इज ओनली ऑन द Y क्रोमोसोम. ठीक है. सो द फादर इज अफेक्टेड. नाउ इन दोनों का जब फ्यूजन होगा, सो देयर आर 4 पॉसिबिलिटीज. ठीक है. बॉय गर्ल. ठीक है. बॉय कैन बी अफेक्टेड, गर्ल विल रिमेन अनअफेक्टेड, अगेन बॉय विल बी अफेक्टेड एंड गर्ल विल रिमेन अनअफेक्टेड. व्हाई? बिकॉज गर्ल्स में ये Y वाला जीन आएगा ही नहीं बिकॉज गर्ल्स आर XX. Boys will have 100% possibility of getting that inherited into them because they are going to have a X and Y chromosome. Got it? Now remember, boys will have X and Y, correct? लेकिन वो X और Y में जो dominant trait होगा, अगर वो dominant trait mother का होगा तो ऐसा हो भी सकता है that Y does not act on the boys. But there is a possibility that inheritance will happen only in boys from the Y-linked inheritance. Okay. Now let's check for the X-linked inheritance. Now X-linked में dominant और recessive होता है. What I just explained to you all कि even उसमें भी dominant and recessive हो सकता है. ठीक है. Now see, X-linked में क्या है? The females are going to be affected because it is X and females are having X. ठीक है. Now father is unaffected but mother is affected. ठीक है. तो अब इनका जो possibilities होंगे, son will remain, there will be a possibility that son will remain unaffected and there can also be a possibility that son can get infected, correct? And daughters जो है उसमें भी possibility दे सकते हैं affected या unaffected. Now why we are having these 2 possibilities? Because of the dominant character. ठीक है. और अगर हम recessive में देखते हैं, ठीक है, तो रिसेसिव में सन is remaining same thing. सन में same possibility रह रही है unaffected और affected की, and daughter में भी unaffected and affected. Now this is not exactly affected. This is a carrier. Now the mother is just carrying the disease, maybe because even she is inheriting it from her parents. Maybe because उनको भी उनके parents से वो inherit हुआ है, but the mother is not having it. ठीक है? For example, if your nani, okay, say your mother's mother, if your nani has sugar, okay, that genes can be present in your mother also, but it is very much possible that your mother does not have sugar or diabetes. Your mother is hale and hearty, okay, but she is carrying that gene, okay, she is carrying that gene because her mother had it. So there is a possibility that that gene can get transferred to you. Okay, so you will wonder, ki, my mom doesn't have diabetes, then how I have got? You have got because your nani had. That is, your mom's mom had. Getting? So possible ho sakta hai that your mom was just a carrier of the gene, and because of probably that gene being somewhere recessive, unko nahi hua. But jab wo aapko transfer hua, that gene became dominant over any other recessive trait, and you could get that disease. Okay, and it is also possible that you could remain also a carrier again. Okay, so that is about the X and Y linked inheritance. This is nothing but known as the sex linked inheritance. Certain diseases जो है, जैसे baldness का मैंने आपको example दिया, वो सिर्फ males में ही होगा. That gene cannot be got into females because females are not going to have the Y chromosome. So they will not have genes which are there on the Y chromosomes. Okay, so that is it about the X and Y chromosomes. And here we come to the end of our session on genes, genetics, Mendel experiments, Dihybrid Cross, Monohybrid Cross. We've seen a lot. I'm sure, kids don't get confused between the terminologies. It's all simple, easy. Just go through everything. If you have any doubts, put them in the comments section. Like the channel, subscribe the channel. You'll have access to a lot of videos for 9th and 10th, both ICSE. So yes, keep subscribing to the channel. Stay tuned. If you all want any certain topic to be explained again, could be from genetics or could be from any other topic that you all want, or do put it down in the comment section, right? And I'll see you all next class. Bye bye.